President, we have an urgent matter at hand.
How urgent? I'm a little busy. Can I wait?
Sir, we have a possible nuclear threat to the States.
What on earth are you talking about?
This aerial photograph shows the Soviet Union bases under construction containing nuclear missiles that can reach as far up to D.C.
Can you call the rest of the National Security Council? We're going to have to take the next steps carefully.
We have to attack now, Mr. President. We can't sit here and wait to respond on this one. Nuclear warfare is something we cannot be responsible.
I agree. A full invasion should be our next step. We should push to take down those bases before they even finish construction, let alone launch.
What then? What will happen after we invade Cuba again? We can't look happy in front of the world. How would we be viewed if we chose to shoot first and attempt peace later?
We would appear to be decisive. We should appear to be strong.
We would look like murderers.
Would you rather have all of the United States attacked by nuclear missiles?
There has to be another way. We can have a quarantine to halt the situation and go from there.
We need to take immediate action. We can't take them lightly.
That's all for today. We will have to meet periodically about this. Good afternoon, Mr. Minister.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Please have a seat. I would like to discuss the bases planted in Cuba.
Please, Mr. President, you have nothing to worry about. Those bases pursue solely the purpose of contributing to the defense capabilities of Cuba. And if it were for otherwise, the Soviet government would never become involved in rendering such assistance.
That seems to be quite a large contribution to defense.
Mr. President, I can assure you no attack will be launched upon United States soil.
Well, before I leave you, I just wanted to assure you one thing, that if there are nuclear weapons are introduced to Cuba, the gravest of consequences will follow. I met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs 2 days ago. He told me that the bases were for the defense of Cuba and that only.
Mr. President, I've said before that we need to take action against them, and fast.
A full-scale invasion is an option you might have to come up with terms with. Millions of people's lives are at stake.
I agree. We can't let these missiles launch and the Soviets aren't backing down. Action is needed.
If we were to make a blockade and declare that island a quarantine, we can take action without ruling out peace or an invasion. And we won't have this stalemate blow up into World War III. We need to tread lightly. Can we all agree to that?
Agreed.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We will continue to meet, but for now we will need to prepare to address. Make sure this gets to Khrushchev. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation with a purpose that can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere. Only last Thursday, as evidence of this rapid offensive buildup was already in my hand, Soviet Foreign Minister Gromko told me in my office that Soviet assistance to Cuba, and I quote, pursued solely the purpose of contributing to the defense capabilities of Cuba, and if it were otherwise, the Soviet government would never become involved in rendering such assistance. That statement was false. Acting, therefore, in the defense of our own security and of the entire Western Hemisphere, I have directed that the following initial steps be taken immediately. First, to halt this offensive buildup to a strict quarantine zone. Second, I directed the continued and increased close surveillance of Cuba and its military buildup. Third, to regard any launched nuclear missile as an attack on the United States. Finally, I call upon Khrushchev to end this blatant threat to world peace. Our goal is not peace at the expense of freedom, but peace and freedom. Thank you and good night. Yesterday, Khrushchev sent me a letter saying he would withdraw his missiles if we don't invade Cuba. But today I received another one asking that we also remove the Jupiter missiles from Turkey.
He's afraid of conflict. Now is when we push on the offensive so they surrender. The American people are scared. We need to protect them and take down those bases in Cuba.
We don't need to invade Cuba anymore. There's a peaceful option waiting for us.
Maybe we shouldn't trust him. He's changing his offers.
I think we should take his initial offer and leave the Jupiter missiles in Turkey.
The removal of these missiles is a requirement for the stalemate to end.
If he offered to remove the withdrawal from Cuba without having to withdraw from Turkey, he's bound to make that offer again.
Agreed.
Thank you for meeting me here, Ambassador.
It is my pleasure, Attorney General Kennedy.
I'd like to get a better understanding of what it will take for Khrushchev to withdraw from Cuba so we can end this crisis.
I would like this to end here too. We will need America to pledge that they won't invade Cuba and the removal of the Jupiter missiles in Turkey.
I don't think that last part can be made possible.
It will have to be made possible if you want the missiles gone.
If it does happen, I think we would only be able to if we were able to keep that under the radar. America needs to come out strong.
As long as the missiles are gone, then it won't make the media.
Khrushchev made the radio announcement about the removal of the missiles.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your aid in this endeavor. It was a win for the American people, peace, and freedom.